Am I wrong for kicking out my BF's 19-year-old daughter? My BF of 3 years moved into my home 3 weeks ago after his lease went up and he was unable to renew with the price hike they expected. His rent was $1,600 for a 2-bedroom, and upon signing a new lease, they said it was now $2,400. I have a 3-bedroom home and one 11-year-old son. Both his room and my room have an attached bathroom. The guest room does not. We have lived here for 5 years and I bought it last year. My BF has a 19-year-old daughter named Jess who visits him on the weekends and lives at home with her mother. Literally never had any issues with her up until my BF moved in. When he moved in, Jess started becoming this bitch snob who had demand after demand that she fully expected me to meet. Like she wanted me to kick my son out of his room so she could have the room with an attached bathroom, stating that a boy didn't need a bathroom as much as a girl did. When I said absolutely not, she got extremely rude and condescending whenever she was in my home. She also tried parenting my son on more than one occasion, telling him what he can and cannot watch on the TV, what he can and cannot snack on, etc. There have been times when he has tried talking to us and Jess will butt in and say something about how kids are so freaking annoying. If I speak up to her, she says, "I don't believe I was talking to you," or roll her eyes at me. Bold for someone who does not pay any rent or food cost to be staying in my home. I told her father last week that either he gets a handle on his adult kid or she was getting booted to the curb. He immediately starts telling me I need to give her time because this is an adjustment for her and that apparently she is having a hard time at her mom's house due to them arguing all the time. I told him that wasn't my problem and that in my house, me and my son were not going to be treated like shit because she can't control her emotions and wants to take her resentment out on us. He said he would talk with her. His talk did nothing at all. In fact, she confronted me about it and said, "I don't know what game you're playing here, but respect is earned, not given, and I will not be granting you respect until you prove to me you deserve it." She then walks to the living room where my son was watching TV and takes the remote from him and tells him to move. At this point, I go in and immediately tell her to get out of my house. She tells me she isn't going anywhere because her dad lives here, so I end up calling her uncle, who is a police officer, and have her escorted from my house after she collected all her belongings. My BF says I crossed a line, so I told him he can leave too. He currently isn't speaking to me, locked away in my bedroom. Am I wrong for taking a joke too far and making my mom faint? I, 18-year-old female, hate practical jokes because my parents love them. It was my 18th birthday last week and it was the first time in 3 years that I was able to have friends and family over for my birthday party. My parents love practical jokes. You name it, they have done it to me. Or my older sisters. At each of my sister's 18th birthday parties, they pushed the birthday girl's head into the cake. I think this is stupid and a waste of cake. So I talked to my friend Kyra, who is into cosplay and makeup. She is amazing, but she said not to post her Insta, and we came up with a plan. When my family was planning my party, I asked for them to please not push my face into the cake and my parents agreed. So on the day of my party, I was ready. When my parents inevitably pushed my face into the cake, I stood up and screamed bloody murder and squeezed the fake blood pack in my hand that I was holding up to my eye with a candle stub between my fingers. It was awesome. Until my mom fainted and hit the ground hard. Everyone was looking at me and no one caught her. She is bruised up and her and my dad are pissed off at me. Am I wrong for refusing to be a bridesmaid in my sister's wedding? I, 28-year-old female, come from a big extended family. Including me and my sister, 23-year-old, there are 24 female cousins and 17 male cousins. Half of the cousins are already married. When the first one ever asked me to be a bridesmaid, I declined. When I attend a wedding, I want to have fun, eat food and dance. In exchange, I will get you a gift. I do not want to spend my energy, time and money on your big day. And when I get married, I will not have a bridal party, nor will I expect a bachelorette party. Well, all of the cousins understood, there were no hard feelings. And to be honest, with that many cousins, it wasn't even an issue. Now my younger sister is getting married. She asked me to be a bridesmaid and I declined. And I did it very gently. I told her sorry, but with working full-time, being in the final stages of preparing my thesis and teaching some summer classes, that I would not make a good bridesmaid. Also, my sister is a total bridezilla. The dresses she is looking at for her party are $450. She expects a weekend bachelorette in Vegas with all the bells and whistles. And wants everyone to attend dance classes to learn this elaborate dance to surprise her with. I do not have the energy for all that ish. Now she said I am not invited to her wedding. If I am not willing to put forth the effort to make her day perfect, then I do not deserve to be there. Honestly, I don't care. But my mom and some aunts are calling me an AH. So am I wrong? I came home after a 10-hour shift to my apartment in a mess, my baby screaming and my 8-year-old trying to feed her. The father was asleep the whole time. Worked a long shift, came home and there was trash and food everywhere. My child, 8-year-old male, runs up to me, covered in stains and baby formula saying, "Sis is crying real bad, she's hungry." I'm sorry, I tried to feed her. I rush in the nursery and sure enough, my daughter's diaper is full, she's screaming and crying, face red. Literally still in her crib. The room is messy with baby formula and chips. I later learned from my son that he had tried to make a bottle for her but didn't know how, so he tried to feed her potato chips to calm her down but she couldn't eat them. He'd been trying to open the door to me and my husband's bedroom. It was locked the whole time while he was in there sleeping. I asked him if he ate and he said not really, just chips, and he tried to take all the food out of the fridge to make something to eat. After feeding and changing my 6-month-old, I literally almost tear that bedroom door down trying to get him to open it, and he opens the door all groggy and says, "What do you want?" clearly annoyed. I tear him a new one and scream at him that our children haven't eaten all day cause his lazy ass couldn't wake up and care for them. He just stares at me dumbfounded and is like, "Oh my bad, I thought they ate before you went to work." I'm crying at this point. He stayed up all night playing video games and promised he'd wake up and stay up for the kids. I should have known better. I told him I wasn't going to get our kids taken away cause of him and that we were over. I'm shaking. Literally have never been so mad in my life. And all he can say is, "Sorry. I don't know where I'm going, but I have to leave." I hugged my son, told him he did his best and I was proud of him for taking care of his sister. So sad he even had to do that. Am I wrong for telling my brother that our parents planned to push his face onto his birthday cake? I am a 17-year-old female and my brother, 16-year-old, had his 16th birthday yesterday. Before the cake cutting began, my brother had to go to the restroom, and in the meantime our mom and dad said they would push his face down onto the cake before my brother would cut the cake. I knew my brother would hate this, so in secret, I texted him, he always takes his phone to the restroom lol, what our parents were planning. He texted back a thumbs up. Since he was warned before, he told my parents when he came out of the restroom that they better not push his face onto the cake. Our parents got upset and they realized I had told my brother what they were planning, and they yelled at me for a bit for warning my bro. Am I wrong for smiling while my mother-in-law scolded my husband for poking my belly and saying it was like dough? I gave birth to our first child 3 weeks ago and my body hasn't snapped back yet. I definitely feel insecure about it, to the point where I won't even change in front of my husband anymore. Yesterday, I was laying down on him and my top rode up so you could see my belly slightly. He stroked it and then poked it and made a comment about how my belly was like dough. I know my reaction was irrational, but I burst into tears. My in-laws were there, and my mother-in-law was furious with my husband, and she started scolding him for not being careful with his words. My husband tried to defend himself, but my mother-in-law kept telling him off. I started smiling, and my husband got upset with me for being happy he was getting into trouble. That's it for today's story time. Enjoy the rest of the video.